If you've been waiting on the sidelines to purchase a home because you want those pandemic level interest rates, you're likely to be disappointed. In this video, I'm going to tell you why, but if you stick around until the end, I'm going to give you some more information about how you possibly can get a lower interest rate that you might want. The CEO of Fannie Mae, which is the largest of the government sponsored enterprises that deal with mortgages, recently put out a statement saying it's important for mortgage investors, the housing market, and consumers to understand that it's unlikely we will again see the low mortgage rates we had during the COVID-19 pandemic, when a unique combination of monetary and fiscal policy sent rates to an all-time lows. She continues on by saying, in fact, current mortgage rates and Fannie Mae's forecast for 2025 rates are well in line with rates over the past several decades. Since 1990, the 30-year fixed mortgage has averaged 6%. So if you take a look at this chart, you can see that around the 2008-2009 housing crash, we saw those rates drop below 5%. Those rates stayed low until about the pandemic when the rates dropped even lower. But in about 2023, that's when we saw rates rise again above that 5% range. Historically speaking, rates have been much higher than what we've seen in recent years. However, since you have seen lower rates in recent years, it's hard to understand and hard to accept that you might be paying a higher interest rate than what happened 2, 3 years ago. Looking at this chart, I think it's safe to say that no one really wants to be paying a 15% interest rate like they were back in the 80s. So the question is, what can you do to make sure that your interest rate is manageable enough for you to actually be able to afford a home? One method to follow is ask the seller for concessions to buy down your interest rate. So, for example, if you had about a 6% interest rate, you could buy that down to a 5% or down in the 4%, depending on how much concessions you're able to receive from them and how well the negotiations go. Another really good option is to seek out new build communities because oftentimes they're able to offer interest rates that are much lower than what you might be able to find on the average market. So if you're hoping to purchase a home and want to know more about what your potential interest rate might be, go ahead and drop right below and I can get you started with a pre-qualification to see how much home you can afford and what that rate will look like for you. Take care.